Hi, gang. So this is just a little presentation Oscar and I are very kindly putting together as we work together on a Monday evening. So this is just to go over the basics as we're set for the Jeddah to AlUla cycle to happen. Really excited, just to give you a brief overview and to talk it through because I'm aware that the website's maybe a little bit messy, as it's a recce as well. There's still things we're figuring out, so just to give everyone an idea. So, starting off with what it is, as you guys know, it's the first ever bike touring trip in Saudi. Super excited. I put 5 out of 5 difficulty because, as you'll find out, the cycling is going to be tough. But I'm confident that everyone here can do it. And I'm also confident that the fact that you're in a peloton, the fact that it's relatively flat, never really steep, and the fact that I'm going to be there with a support car, or whoever is there will be with a support car, made me very confident. And as you know, everyone coming is kind of friends slash friends of friends, so is open-minded to what the trip will look like, and that the itinerary can and will change and things are out of our control. And yeah, so it's 12th to the 22nd of December. That's 10 days because in my mind you're booking 10 days out the calendar, but really the trip will be 8 days. And that will make sense as we go through the itinerary. So as you can see here, pretty photos. It's exciting as we're following the Middle Eastern incense route, which obviously has a big history. You're seeing Jeddah, which is an amazing city, which we'll go through in a minute, and rest day in Medina, and then AlUla as well. Amazing. So, first day, arriving. So the flight that happens every day from Gatwick leaves Gatwick at 4 p.m., meaning, or 4 or 5 p.m., meaning that you arrive at at Jeddah, sorry, at 2 a.m. Saudi time, meaning that you've arrived at really 11 p.m. UK time. So it's not actually that brutal. I'll be there to collect you from the airport, and then that first day will be no alarm, taking it easy. But then we're going to have a cycle tour of Jeddah in the afternoon, sorting out bikes, getting all the kind of admin sorted out, and seeing a bit of the city. And similarly, that's what Mondays Monday is dedicated to, hopefully joining a local cycle team, doing their morning loops, etc. And I'll let Oscar explain a little bit as I show some photos and why Jeddah is such an exciting place for us to start our trip.
Cool. Hi, Bastian. Sorry. Yeah. Good evening, everyone who's watching. I'm not going to be around the bush. Like, Jeddah's awesome. It's insane. These photos don't do it justice. This is like the sort of corporatized photos you're seeing there. But then Jeddah is special because it's a port city, and it's the port city that the majority of Muslims that were traveling from regions such as the west coast of India, the Malabari coast, or Indonesia, like regions like Aceh or Malaysia, or even people that would sort of travel down from modern day Uzbekistan down to Mumbai and then take steamships in the late 19th, early 20th century. They would all arrive in Jeddah. So for hundreds of years, it's been this real center point of a cosmopolitan global Islamic identity. And we really excited about showing that on the tours on this tour, right? So that's going to come through food, through buildings, through like meeting local people that sort of are part of this global Islamic identity.
Yeah, really exciting. Little things, snorkeling, museum. It's also known, I didn't know this, Oscar. Not to turn this into a Zoom call between me and you, but I didn't know this, that it's known as like the artistic hub of Saudi, like where a lot of artists
Hmm.
live, and that hence there's loads of galleries, etc., which is pretty cool.
Yeah, the day that we're there in the evening, there'll be opportunity to see a Saudi film,
Mm.
but from the 70s. It's in black and white. It's got English subtitles, and that's at like one of these creative hubs that you're talking about. So there's definitely an opportunity to meet local creatives, and yeah, it seems like an exciting place to be, not just for the past, but for what's going on at the moment as
Yeah,
well.
for sure. Definitely a side of Saudi where I'm super stoked to experience. So then after the Monday, so and that reminds me, I need to add the cinema onto the itinerary. Um, onto the Tuesday. So we'll leave early in the morning, and as you can see here, it's about 200 kilometers over 2 days. Hoping, can't guarantee this at this point, but the local cycling club will join us for at least part of the first day, the part of the ride on the first day. Now this is riding from Jeddah to Medina. So 400 kilometers is pretty easy. It's going to be 200 per day. And it's relatively flat. I think definitely compared to the other route, this is going to be completely flat to the second half of the cycling trip. We've got a support car, and there's not much to say other than it's going to be tough. Weather, as you see later down, is not really too much of an issue. If you cycled in Europe during the summer, then it's not going to be any different. But yeah, quite exciting. And then after that 400 kilometers, we're going to rest and we're going to visit Medina. And this is a rest day, kind of a perfect place for a rest day. I mean, I've been watching YouTube videos and doing a lot of research and talking to people, and it seems like this sort of tranquil place. But I'll let Oscar talk about Medina for a minute and why it's, sorry, not to cut him off, talk too much, but
Yeah.
it's such an exciting.
Medina in Arabic means city, but Medina has the sort of more formal name as Medina al-Munawwara, the sort of the city that exudes light. Why does it exude light? Because it was the place that the Prophet chose to build the first mosque in 622 AD when he performed the migration from Mecca, where the Kaaba is, where Muslims pray towards, to this region slightly north of Mecca. And so we're going to be visiting one of the most holy places for Muslims, as it has been for the last sort of 15 centuries or 14 centuries. And so it's very exciting. Muslims weren't allowed to enter, non-Muslims weren't allowed to enter Medina until 2018. And still, you're not allowed to enter the Prophet's mosque, the mosque that was built by the followers of the Prophet that followed him from Mecca after the revelations. Or during the ongoing revelations that he received from the angel Gabriel. So it's a very special place. There's lots to talk about. It'll be very fascinating, I think, for everyone to sort of be in this place. And it's a lot less, it's been kept very sort of underdeveloped in lots of regards, especially on the outskirts. And we'll have an opportunity to see that as we're sort of cycling through as well. And the hospitality of the people in Medina is sort of famous worldwide amongst the Muslim community. So really exciting for everyone.
Yeah, and similarly to Jeddah, it seems to have souks and markets, etc., from with things from all over the world, which I'm kind of excited to find some gems and things like that. And on that note, forgot to mention that Jeddah has the world's largest fish market. It's pretty fucking exciting. Um, so yes. And then moving on to Friday and Saturday, we're back on the road. We've got a shorter distance of 340 kilometers to cover in 2 days. And now this is more mountainous. This is when the roads are going to be and this is the floating mosque from Jeddah, I also forgot to mention. But this is when the roads are going to start looking more like this photo in the top right, and this photo in the bottom left, really kind of getting into the mountainous. Those who've familiar with Wadi Rum of Jordan, it's a similar, very similar landscape because it's the same sort of desert. And really excited to start experiencing that. I think that'll be really unique and very exciting. Steeper climbs, but never sort of drastic climbing. The real steep mountains as such, where you're really in the sort of canyons and the valleys will happen, is more in AlUla. But yeah, very excited for that. So that's 2 days. And then on the third day, we're heading into AlUla. So AlUla, I think, I mean, it's really an exciting place. I think the fact that it's been so new, but from what I've read and what I've heard from people that have been, it's still managed to keep this really traditional and authentic side to it, which is really cool to see as they're revamping it and making it more open to tourism. And I'm very happy to be cycling there. I think it's a really cool, unique way to experience it than flying in from Dubai or like some people do for their wellness retreats. But on that, that does mean that there's some cool retreat hotels to visit, so that's pretty nice for recovery after the hard cycling. And then we've got a guide ready for there. and will be the 4x4 Jeeps, similarly to Wadi Rum, and that includes visiting Hegra. So uh, this sort of landscape, which again is pretty spectacular, and there's some pretty good hikes. I mean, you're hiking a lot in the end because you are in the mountains, but it should be really, really fun. And I'm going to pass to Oscar quickly to actually do it justice of the history of AlUla because I'm not doing it justice because I know there's a lot of inscriptions from some of the oldest in the world, right? I mean, maybe you.
Yeah, I'm more of a like post 14th century history guy. Um, but from my understanding, it's part of like this ancient Nabatean kingdom that was present in like the south of modern day Jordan as and sort of linking up to this region of the Hijaz, which is on the along the Red Sea coast, and that along this sort of between these 2 points between Jordan and Petra, which is the other famous Nabatean stronghold, and AlUla are various like points or like trading points we know of that have been found along that region. But yeah, I'm excited as much as everyone else to find out more about AlUla and especially people that I guess appreciate like geological things and in ancient inscriptions. It'll be pretty exciting.
Yeah, amazing. And yeah, so it's cool. So that's the end of our cycling the incense route. And now Monday come to the end of our trip. And so the flight, again, there's one flight leaving every day from AlUla to Jeddah. It's relatively cheap, it's £80 a day. And that leaves at 8 p.m. in the evening. So that means that, and then there's a few hour layover in Jeddah airport before heading back to London. So essentially think of it as an overnight flight. And that's again why I've put the trip as 10 days out your calendar, but 8 days of the trip. Because you arrive back at London, I think it's actually just before midday, more like 11 a.m. or something like this. But that's so yeah, you're leaving AlUla at 8 p.m. in the evening and you're getting back in the morning, mid-morning of UK time. And that means that's actually works quite well in our favor because it means you get more time to explore AlUla, really. And on that day, I mean, already I haven't put cycling for Saturday, but realistically, we might go for a little spin. And then that's taking on stage 4, which I've actually got prepped because I'm pretty excited to check this one out. Apparently, the views from this I've been reading about, the views look amazing. It's 12%, as you can read, but it looks super stunning. So that's from stage 4 of the Saudi tour. And then also, I think the last thing that we might do will be visiting the old town and going on to like, yeah, if there's any last minute gifts you want to get, or just before Christmas, so it can be quite a nice way to pick up some nice stuff. So that's that. I think last thing I say on this itinerary before moving forward is that there is flexibility involved. Obviously, when Oscar are there and I are there, driving back and forth and getting everything ready and getting the state pinpointing the stations to have the aid stations and um, etc. etc. There is a level of flexibility here, and that's why there's a day in Medina because that could become longer or shorter because it's and then there's also the flexibility of AlUla. Having that extra day in AlUla really works in our favor to again allow a longer or shorter cycle, for example. And but yeah, in general, and also goes without saying that when we're there, things might change where a route could slightly change, but we'll keep you updated. But we're set on. We're set on trying to make this happen. Cool. And then moving on to key information. Uh, as normal, everything will include everything. Hoping to have like a rough idea of the fees in the next few days. Just waiting to hear back from some people and work that out. Bike essentials. This is good. Currently in contact with bike stores, and that will happen more clearly when I'm there. To be able to get a good price, and if you guys wanted to rent a bike instead of um, bringing your own one out, but equally if you did that, it's not a problem. Um, Kit list, temperature. So it is the start of the winter season. I mean, the Saudi tour, the cycling that happens is in January, and I think that's like the perfect time to go because it's like the least hot on paper. But realistically, end of the mid slash end of December is not going to be too much different. You're looking at around 30 to 20 in Jeddah, which will be the hottest. And then as you go more into desert, it will get cooler and cooler. And obviously in the nights in the desert, it can get really cold. Um, and that's about it. I think happy to leave it there. I hope that made sense. And we will yeah, we'll be in touch and let me know if you have any questions. Cheers, guys.
Nice. Very good.
Oh, I think I'm still recording.
Oh,
Pause.
you can